Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. So I've got a bit of an indulgent one this week because, so I don't know if you've seen the video already where we clear out the bulk of the garage. We've still got a bit more to do as I'm filming this, but we came across my A-level art project. I'm so grateful that I did it in this format. So I found this big folder full of everything is in these poly pockets. And instead, so if it had been an ordinary sketchbook, which is what most people did for their project, it would have been ruined. So I've given it a bit of a wipe, but there is definitely some more cleaning up to do. So I think what I'm going to do is go through this because I want to film my reactions as I see this for the first time in, does it have a date on here? I can figure this out because Rain was about 2. She was about 1.5. Rain was about 18 months old. So this would have been in 1996, 97, that sort of era that I did this, and I certainly haven't looked at it since we moved here 14 years ago. So I really can't remember what's in here, and I'm quite excited to have a look. My project was about the artist called Odilon Redon. And I'm sure in a French accent that sounds so much better. Odilon Redon. But I tend to go East Kent and end up saying Redon. Anyway, that's the name of the artist. And yeah, we had to pick, we weren't allowed to pick like one of the old masters. They wanted someone more modern. Ideally someone still alive or not long dead. But I was allowed to do Odilon Redon. Oh, so my front cover says my copy of the, oh it's so faded, The Chariot of Apollo 1912. Oh, I like my lettering, that's cool. What's funny is, I mean, I don't know if you watch some of my art videos, but I still have all these art supplies. This is my set of charcoal and chalks that I was given by my aunt and uncle quite a long time ago. Oh, I love that. Oh, my biography is not at all difficult. I have never been anywhere. The events that left their mark on me happened in days gone by in my head. That's cool, because of course we had to do a biography. Oh, I've got nice, neat writing. My handwriting has really gone downhill since here. Etching. Oh, did you, let me know in the comments, did you ever have those little crafty packs of, I can't remember what they were, scraper foils or scraper something, and they came with a little tool with this little scraper on the end and you had to scrape away the top layer of paint. There'd usually be lines on it that you could follow. Well, it looks like I found a plain one and made my copy of his etching. That is not bad. Oh my gosh, that's not bad at all. Even if I do say so myself. Oh, I'd forgotten how weird he was, at least in the early days. Wow, the cactus man. That's interesting. The marsh flower. That is bizarre. 1882. You don't imagine them to be that surrealist in 1882. I imagine that to be later, but my art history is, I never remember anything. My horse is a little out of proportion. I think it was when I did this project and I started using charcoal more, because for the first part of his career, Redon only used black medium. He didn't use colour at all, and so I really got used to using charcoals, and I really love it. I really want to, actually I've got a project coming up where I'm going to do a big charcoal picture, I think. But yeah, I do like using those willow charcoal sticks. They're just so freeing and expressive. So that's my own picture interpreted from his sort of thing. Well, that's interesting. Sketches of work by Odilon Redon in the archives of the British Museum. Because that was the thing back then. The internet barely existed, and so I couldn't go online and do research. Certainly wouldn't have had a printer that was up to printing pictures of any sort of quality. I remember our teacher encouraged us to buy a book about that artist and cut out the pictures and use those in our project, but I couldn't find a book. I couldn't buy a book. I think, because of course Amazon didn't exist then, I don't think. Oh, that's just bizarre, isn't it? Life was so different then. And I remember my choice of artist was purely based on the books that were available in our local library about which artists. So I had to go to London to the British Museum to find some more work by him. And I think I went to the British Library as well. Yes, I did. I had to make an appointment. There was a biography of him that was chunky. It was this big book like this, and I had an appointment to go and look at the book, and there wasn't, it's not like, I don't think I was allowed to take photographs, so it was really just little notes I could make or little sketches of the pictures that were in there. How different life was then. I had to go to London to find out the information rather than just a quick search on Google. Isn't that bizarre? That's a sweet picture. My GCSE art picture was a picture of me holding a baby. So I obviously managed to get hold of some postcards, and I'm guessing these black and white prints were photocopied from the library book or something like that. I need to stop commenting on every single page because it's quite a hefty book and I'm going to be here all day long if I do. So let's skip through a couple of these. But this is when I discovered Edgar Allan Poe because Redon illustrated some of his poems. So that was interesting. The eye balloon, 1878. I mean, he had a crazy imagination, this guy. Okay, I can date this. 1997. I've dated some of these pictures that were mine but inspired by his type of work. If you're not familiar with the British exam system, then A-levels are the ones you usually take. They're usually your last exams you take at school, age 18, or sixth form college. So I actually left school at 16 because you were allowed to then, because I knew I wanted to start a family young. So I left when I was 16, but after having Rain, I went back to our local college, which did more vocational courses for sixth form age group and also adult education. So I went to evening classes when Chris could look after Rain. I was, yeah, it's just come back to me. I was pregnant when I took the final exam with Jude. So yeah, reminiscing. I can't really remember if the course was any good, I'll be honest. I know our teachers at school, when I did GCSE art, which is the exam you take when you're 16, they weren't the best. They weren't the best art teachers that I had, to be honest. Yeah, I just wish I'd had a little bit more guidance, a bit more proper tuition, I would say, rather than just being told to get on with it. And if you're interested, as we're going back in history, after I finished this, before I did this, I was doing my NVQs. I did a series of NVQs in photography at the college in the evenings. And then after I finished the art, I think then the following September, I started A-level English. And then I went on from there to do evening classes to do a portion of an English degree. So there we are, there's a little history of my education. So anyway, I'm currently sort of reviving my art education. I've joined the Milan Art Institute Art Club. You get some lessons, some guidance through a few videos each month, but they also offer this wonderful sounding course that takes a year, but that's a year like quite full time. It looks really thorough, and I'm really loving the style that tends to come out of their classes. And I'd love to do it, but it costs so much money. Not as much money as a degree would, but still quite a lot of money. So I think I might just keep on with my self-education of art and just keep practicing, really, just keep practicing. Okay, let's keep going. it in colour. Oh, I did a bit of embroidery. So this one is obviously a type of copy, but it is a bit frustrating that a lot of my copies in here, you can't see the original, so you don't know what it is I've copied. Oh my gosh. So I've copied one of his portraits of his son, and then I've done a picture of Rain. Oh, it's not very good. I can tell it's him, but it's not very good. Profile self-portrait in the same style as the golden cell. That's meant to be me? That looks nothing like me. That's not my nose. I've got a rounder nose than that. That looks nothing like me. Oil on cardboard. See, that is not a bad copy. Oh, I've obviously missed a bit or added in a bit. Mystical Night became one of Redon's most popular images. My own picture. That's not very good, really. That's a bit better. I like the colours. Some of these pictures that I've done, I think I've done a really good job of copying his style, actually. I did like his Pegasuses. Pegasuses? Pegasi. Or just Pegasus. What is the plural of Pegasus? See, that's not a bad copy, even if I do say so myself. That is fairly similar. That's a nice picture, but not very much in his style. Minor picture. That's not bad. Oh my gosh, I did a whole pressed flower arrangement. That's quite clever, actually. I did like his flowers. I like my anemones, copy of the anemones in a jug. I think what is evident with some of these pictures is that they were a bit rushed, perhaps, because I was doing these pictures when Rain was napping, and then I remember she got towards the end of me doing the art, she got to the age where she stopped having an afternoon nap, and so my chances to paint and do this was quite small. I was always rushing because I don't know if you've had kids, if you remember that sensation when they go and nap and you're just like, please, no one ring the doorbell, no one phone. And I'd always get, and I'd be like halfway through a picture and then someone would phone or something, and then she'd wake up and I thought, oh god, that's it, and I had to pack all the stuff away again. So I think a lot of these pictures could have done with just a bit more time spent on them, but I couldn't really do that. Yeah, I remember that quite well, actually, trying to get my pictures done before while she was napping. So yeah, I did as best as I could with my circumstances, I think. Yeah, they could just do with a bit more time. That's nice. I quite like that. So my other pieces of art that I did for my A-level were, I did this humongous picture in the style of Klimpt of me holding Rain in my arms, you know, with my head on one side like that. And I did the flowers with wax crayons. And so I had all my childhood wax crayons, of course, I'd kept them. And they're not really made of wax anymore, I don't think. And then I melted them and had an old kitchen knife, and then I was sort of melted the coloured wax onto the paper to create the petals of the flowers. And I remember my art teacher being very impressed with that. It went to the dump when we moved house, because it just would have been so difficult to transport without ruining it anyway, but I still wish we'd tried. I regret that. See, that's why I hate decluttering. I just regret everything we get rid of. Yeah, that's a shame, but I think I might have a photo if I can put that up. So that was one of my main pieces. I did a still life, which I don't know where that is, and a sort of modern arty type thing of Notting Hill Carnival. If I can find pictures of them, I'll put them up. Ah! Oh my gosh, just after me saying that. This is it. This is also with wax. So this is where I might have had to go with it to begin with. This is exactly what I was saying with the wax, using coloured wax crayons and melting it with a candle and using the wax in the picture. I think this might, I don't know, this might be all wax wiped onto the paper. So that's inspired by underwater vision, and so is that one. Oh, this page is really ruined. That's a shame. Portrait of my sister. No, that doesn't look much like her. Sorry Jane if you're watching. Oh, another one of rain. Oh, and a self-portrait from a wedding photo. That looks a bit like me, but it's not brilliant. Oh, I like this. Oh, I did this with wax crayon as well. That's come out really well. When you look at the one it's copying, that looks pretty good. Included a piece of silk painting. Oh, that's got that vintage fabric smell. Oh, that's because of his fabric panels. Okay. That's not very good. The internet did exist. I'm just looking at my bibliography. It shows you what we can't remember. It's the following websites on the internet. Oh my gosh, well there you are. I'd remembered that wrong then. When did we all get the internet? I thought it would have been after 97. Oh, shows what my memory's like. Well there we are. That's it. And on the back I've got a spider. Yeah, he did do a picture very much like this in charcoals. Well, that was interesting. I'll be honest, some of them I'm like, oh, that's not bad. And then some of them I'm thinking, oh, that's quite bad. My favourite one is the cover. So this was 25 years ago. And part of me thinks, what if I'd just kept going? What if I'd kept taking my art seriously then? How good would I have been now? And it's difficult not to sort of regret a bit not properly doing it. I mean, I always had art supplies around and I always dabbled here and there when I could. And I've got the sketchbooks still, obviously, from every now and then I'd have another go. But what if I'd done it with the idea in mind to become a professional artist back then? But then we can't think like that, can we? Because I had a lot of hobbies. I still do have a lot of hobbies. Any one of them you could pick. I mean, I did, like I said, I did photography. What if I had decided to take that more seriously then? I think this was before we could build our own websites and stuff like that. So it was difficult to see a future to make a living from these sorts of pursuits. I mean, that's why now is such a good time to exist if you want to have a creative career, because having the option to reach people all the way around the world, sell your own stuff on your own website, that just brings so many more opportunities now. So I hope you enjoyed that little reminisce through time, and maybe you've discovered an artist that you like that you hadn't heard of before. You don't hear much about him. Every now and then I see a picture and I think, oh, that's Redon. But it's not one people have heard of really, but probably because he did so much black stuff and not very much of it would be commercially saleable. The flowers definitely would be. But some of those, some of them are quite weird, so perhaps that's why we don't hear about him very much. Well, that was an indulgent one, really. Do go check out all my other videos. I've been on YouTube now for nearly 8 years. Or is it 8 years? I keep saying nearly 8 years. It probably is 8 years by now. So there's plenty of a back catalogue to have a look at. And if you like arty crafty stuff, then you might like my playlist that's called Stuff I Make, which I'll put up here. And I'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye.